Okay, I believe we are live. So today I kind of wanted to, I unfortunately found another box of cards that I have gathered from Cardhalla. Um, this is, uh, let's be honest, sometimes I have run out of uh, card boxes at various times. Literally a box of ramen bowls that this it just happened to actually can't really see it that well, but it happened to fit four stacks of cards fairly nicely. Um, and so I had kind of ended up with a whole bunch of cards that were can't remember quite why I ended up with them not in a box. Maybe they had already tossed all the boxes and I just kind of ended up with this. So, or actually, I guess this is maybe six or five stacks here that we're looking at uh, of cards. Because I think, yeah, there's three there. Anyway, I kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of. I know I've mostly done Magic the Gathering so far. That's because Magic the Gathering is what I'm interested in as far as card games. I basically only really played Magic the Gathering with other people. I did at one point buy, like when World of Warcraft came out. I remember I bought a box of World of Warcraft. Actually, bought a couple boxes of Star Wars. This collectible card game that had these backs on it. That was really early, kind of when my. I think that came out during the time period when I was a kid and my parents were really against Magic the Gathering, but they were fine with me buying Star Wars, and I really thought that Star Wars cards were going to, if anything was going to increase in price, it would be Star Wars. I mean, it was already collectible, some stuff, and literally it was called a collectible card game, not a trading card game. So I actually have some like a Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and stuff that I have in like nice, like the not top loaders but the actual really nice cases that like you have to screw together and stuff to keep them protected. And I mean, maybe they're worth something if I got them graded. Maybe they are worth something, but nothing compared to like around the same time period of time I could have bought like a couple Black Lotuses for what I had spent on those cards. So we're going to move that a little bit out of the way. Um, I have this massive thing here. Uh, yeah, BCW is getting, I guess, some more advertising from me uh, since uh, I ordered the card sorter from them. Sorry, touched these a couple times, so have a little, I don't know, sweat or something there. Anyway, so I have a card sorter here, which kind of makes things a little bit easier since I can kind of sort stuff and uh, like you get 20 different slots to kind of put stuff in. So I can kind of sort stuff into, hey, is this an old set? Is this a new set? Like, what is this exactly? Uh, yeah, interesting. So some of this stuff is still I guess we are really going to have to go back and add some because, like, that's a Fallen Empires card. Actually, since I have the scanner up, yeah, 2 Fallen Empires cards. Man, just weird. Those if these are worth something, I might have some concerns about them. 21 cents, so I'm not going to worry too much. I don't know if you can kind of see, but they just almost feel greasy, which is kind of odd. I don't know if maybe it's just that I had those, like maybe those cards were on top inside of this box and they've just been sitting there for a while. Like the other Magic the Gathering cards. Like there's another Fallen Empires. That's just weird that I'd have. It almost just kind of disappoints me. I spent that time streaming thinking that I was, you know, was going to do one stream of revised and one stream of, you know, I haven't done a stream of Fallen Empires yet, so I guess those will get added. But if I have Fallen Empires in here, I'm sure I have stuff like Mirage and revised and maybe not revised. A lot of times, uh, when I was sorting through stuff, those white borders are just really easy to tell. And so a lot of times I was pulling out the white borders because I figured those were newer stuff and or older stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to kind of sort these into so I have this like symbol down here with a spear type thing, so I know that's like one kind of, or actually I'm going to put that there. And then I know kind of earlier, actually here, earlier than that, so that's M12. I know this was kind of earlier than putting that down in the corner with like some sort of symbol. They had moved that stuff to the center. Um, and then like here's a Force of Wills. There's that. There's a Legend of the Five Rings. Another Force of Will. Doesn't look like a good card. You see, folded on the edges. So I'm just going to toss that to the side. I don't even think it's really worth looking. Star Wars. Five Rings. World of Warcraft. Actually, move this over a little bit. Yeah, look, World of Warcraft. Have the nice Warlords of Draenor mouse pad that I got. Man, I almost feel like I need to zoom this out. So, like, there's a Tempest land, and I know that's early because down there in that corner. WWE. Right, and then I think this is, yeah, so this is like through 2011. Then they started doing this with no symbol down in this corner. So I know that's another time span of Magic the Gathering cards. I think this, when they started doing this, is when they started including the holographic stamp, maybe, or something. This is when they started doing the uncommon, common, so on. And they also started including what card in the set it was. So they had a lot of things. Highlander. I mean, there's some really, random cards in here. Uh, so, Dragon Ball Z. So there's a Fallen Empires card. I have no idea if those are anything at all. Another Fallen Empires. Maple Story. I mean, when you say Cardhalla, like, I wanted to do at least one live stream of this anyway. So I'm glad I found a box that I hadn't really sorted through yet. Um, yeah, I might just go ahead and minimize this. I know that's the back Windows background. Um, but yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing much but sorting cards for this stream, and I probably won't. I probably will only go for another half an hour or so, maybe an hour. I don't even know. I think this is a card that goes with like some sort of tabletop game. I want to say it's not actually like a TCG or a collectible card game. It's something completely different. I guess I should show what these cards are as I kind of toss them in here. So, I mean, at some point we might. I have no idea about Five Rings or Force of Will or any of these card games. Like, are they active card games? Are they still worth money? All right, like here's another one folded in half. Uh, what is that? I don't think Five Rings is active. This is like a UDE. UD points? UDE points? I don't know what that is. Mage Wars. So, a lot of the Mage Wars cards in these are actually promo cards that they overprinted, and then like the next year they were like, if you haven't played Mage Wars, I mean they're not paying anything for me to like do a promotion. There's Harry Potter, the trading card game. What's this from? 2001. Um, but Mage Wars was kind of a great game in that it was like a um, almost like Magic the Gathering, but it was actually played on a map, kind of, or like a field. And so, like when you summon a monster, you summoned it at the location of your wizard, and then you'd move that monster. Um, so like this is an enchantment that goes on a creature. It increases upkeep or upkeep +2. I forget what upkeep does exactly again. You can cast it as a quick spell. So every turn you get one full spell, one quick spell, or two quick spells. You cast it at a range of 0 to 2, so either on the square that your mage was in or up to 2 away. It cost, I want to say cost 2 or something. I forget how this works. This had to do with what it costs to put into your deck. So your deck you'd actually build with points. And so, like, if you were this type of mage, then you spent 1 point. If you weren't, then you spent 2 points to put this into your deck. And it's just like this creature is restrained against the unmovable trait. Uncontainable creatures can be restrained by Bind Spirit. So if it was like an incorporeal creature that couldn't be held, you could still cast this on it and would basically stop it from moving, right? And some creatures, a lot of the creatures were melee range. So another card that's bent. I just don't know. Like sometimes you get like board game cards in here too, right? So um, this is obviously a set where like I wasn't as focused on making sure, hey, am I grabbing uh, just Magic the Gathering cards? This clearly, I was just grabbing like everything. Um, anyway, back to Mage Wars. So the nice thing about Mage Wars is you actually like each round you pick your hand out of your deck. Um, so you can only cast cards like how many times they're in your deck, and you can only cast what's in your hand, right? So both players would, pick their hand if something happened, and you'd roll dice for damage. So BattleTech, uh, Netrunner, which I don't know, another 5 rings. But like it was a nice game, and there was some fun stuff in there. Like you buy the entire set, so you didn't have to like open booster packs to get all the cards and stuff. And then the promo cards were usually just like alternate artwork or like additional copies of cards that were in the sets anyway, and maybe people were saying, hey, it would be really nice to have more of these cards so that I can have them, because you'd buy a set, and let's say you make like 4 or 5 decks of cards, and maybe you want Fireball in 3 of those decks, that you're like, oh well, I only have enough Fireballs to put 4 of them in one deck or whatever, or how many ever I want like pay for of that card. Um, Babylon 5. So literally at this point, I have 4 slots for Magic the Gathering. And then I don't know if you can really see. Uh, maybe shouldn't turn that much because I'm going to get completely messed up. But yeah, I have all 20 slots here filled in now. So I don't know. Maybe I hope we don't run into another one. Huh. Not many of those double-sided, they're that old. There's another Fallen Empires. And of course, I did run into another one. Okay, let's put the Mage Wars one to the side. So Star Wars, or Star Trek. Sorry, not Star Wars. Yeah, unfortunately, I think like Mage Wars is still being like, you can go buy it from the website of the company that made the game. It's still out there. I actually just, I want to say like last Christmas or something, bought a whole bunch of it. Just, you know, because I wanted it. So, had the money and, you know, just went out, got it. Um, I haven't even opened it. So, this is a lot of fun, though. It's just a little bit different and more a little bit more tactical in some ways than Magic the Gathering, and less dependent on like because there's not 20,000 unique cards of Magic the Gathering, and you don't need to know every single thing. Um, like, you still a bit of a learning curve and stuff, but just kind of a fun game to play. Uh, oh no, was that bent? I always like Star Wars cards. Sort of has a small crease on it. I don't think that really makes it unplayable. Obviously, would get a terrible grade if this was anything that was worth anything, which I'm sure it's not. I think there's still a group that plays uh with the cards. Look, you can redeem it for an exclusive archaeology fragment or card or whatever. But that's still no longer around. But yeah, the Star Wars. I, I saw a blog post that somebody was making. Hey, Montgomery Scott. Scotty. I don't know how you tell if these are rare or what for Star Trek. But yeah, what was I saying? Star Wars. I think there's still some people playing it. It's like such a small group though, and they've like put in their own rules for the cards. Uh so they have a whole bunch of like you have to like go and like print out. There's an alliances card. You have to go and like print out these sheets of things, and then it Duel Master. What Highlander's going to? Well, no, I have two Highlander cards, so I feel like I'm going to get more of those. Maple Story. Although maybe I get more. You know what? I just like the back of that better. And these cards, I don't think they're actually a trading card game. So I'm going to put those to the side. Um, yeah, see, like the Star Wars thing, you have to go like print out the cards and like not the cards themselves, but like it'll be like updated rules and like sometimes updated values and stuff, or like parts of the rules are redone and stuff. Like it's just kind of weird. Um, and then like uh, yeah, and then you have to like put them in cases and stuff, and you can play with other people on them. But I think it's a very like kind of small group. I don't know if they're just doing stuff online or something weird. Um, so that'll be kind of interesting. Force of Will. I mean, I have no idea what's worth money there. I've heard that maybe some of the older or some of the like rare cards might still be worth something because there's still a handful of people. I mean, a lot of trading card games die and then like people still want to play. So like if Magic the Gathering died and then I found out, like let's say it died 10 years ago and I go online and I'm like, Wait, I can buy like Power 9 for $200? Like maybe it's not a PSA 10 like Black Lotus and stuff. Like not graded cards, but like legitimate like cards that are like worth something, and then like I could find some people that are still like playing at the local card shop, even though all like it's defunct card game that no like new cards are coming out. Like yeah, I'd probably drop $200 and buy Power 9. Like and like if I could buy like an entire like potentially every single card that was ever printed, like all 20,000 Magic the Gathering cards for like $1,000 or even like $2,000. Yeah, I'd probably do it. Um, you know, like every card ever printed plus like 4 copies. I mean, even if it was like a few $1,000, I'd probably do it. There's another card that was bent in half. So this is how card towers are built at Cardhalla. So you get your cards, they're bent a little bit. I'm going to try. I swear I'm good at this, right? Bend a card in half, stick other cards on top, right? That gets pretty firm. Like, now, just multiply that by 50 on every single level. You have 50 folded cards and like 20 cards on top, and then the next floor has 50 folded cards, you know, 20 flat cards. Uh, you could get pretty big towers. So I think the biggest I have built was um, biggest I built without. So they don't allow chairs because it's like or not chairs. They don't allow ladders because it's like a safety concern. Uh, and they have had that happen one year where some way right, he brought in a ladder and there were lots of questions asked because there was a tower that was like 17 feet tall. And no explanation for. So how did somebody build this without a ladder? Oh, they levitated up there, like and so they made kind of clear, hey, you're not allowed to have ladders. Squidward for SpongeBob? I don't know. So, um, we heard about that, and at the same time, we'd seen people building like cube towers. So me and a family member had this idea that, well, why can't you put a cube tower on top of a regular tower? so so that's what we did. Uh, actually, can I still get this meeting up? Yeah, I think I still. There we go. Okay, let me. I don't really want to share all my pictures because Who knows? I mean, you might get a picture like this of who's laughing. I drink a lot of Diet Sunkist. Four for $4 at Meyer. And I was like, ooh, I'm in accounting, and so uh, yeah, okay. So I'll go ahead and post this. Yeah, I mean, woohoo! You got a picture of me. Uh, yeah. Um, I mean, this is actually one of the shorter towers that we built. We built much taller, but this year we wanted to kind of get it's 25th Cardhalla, so we had an XXV on there. We built a much kind of larger base this year. And so this is like a cube tower set on top of regular uh regular cards. They're folded. I mean, you can see just how many Magic the Gathering cards we ended up folding. So, which kind of makes me sad, especially because there was a ton of Uno cards this year. Yeah, I think this is the video of the destruction. It seems to be lagging a bit with me sending it. But you can see how many towers have been built up here. And then this is just coins. Just tons and tons of coins. Just going into Cardhalla from 100 plus people that probably went to a bank, right? Got coins out. Yeah. Hey, if you go to a bank and you ask for $10 in pennies, that's 1,000 pennies. Uh, yeah, even quarters, 40 quarters, uh, or nickels. Nickels, I feel like, are your biggest bang for your buck. If you're going to be throwing something, because you get a lot of heft and kind of weight in there compared to a penny. Like a penny maybe takes out a card or two when you get a good hit. A nickel's going to take out like 4 or 5 cards, and throwing 1,000 pennies, uh, that just takes a long, long time. So we might as well. I'll let that play a little bit more while I kind of sort through these cards. What do I'm just going to throw anything that's advertising. Let me put Babylon 5 back there. There's a Mirage Island. Perfect timing. See, this gets weird. Like, another Mirage Island. I mean, there's. I don't even remember. That must have been printed after. Or not like after the game ended. And you kind of see if you're still watching the stream or this video of the tower. Um, I think it's fun. Right there, I kind of zoomed in. And you can see that there's. Sorry, it's kind of all over the place. I am not a professional photographer or videotaper, videographer. Who knows what you would call them? A cameraman. All I know is the cameraman never dies. So I want to be behind the camera. But speaking of which, I don't think I've ever gotten hit with coins at Cardhalla. I'm almost always videotaping, so. But you can see our tower is the last one kind of still. I mean, maybe not the last tower. There's still a couple other small towers in the back, but it's like the last big tower. And you can see where like multiple cubes have been busted on that thing, and uh, that was kind of part of my thought process this last year to build something a little bit smaller. Uh, by the way, these are not cards from this last Cardhalla. So these are from I don't know how many years ago. So if you see something like crazy good in here, you know what? It's probably not actually like something that you would see normally, like if it's gone up in price. Or like let's say there was a good combo. Did I miss the tower going down? I think I may have. Yeah. Oops. I got on just on the edge of the screen, right? You could tell I'm not. I was watching it while just like holding my camera off or my phone up. Uh, I'll get the actual video at some point because the actual video is just a lot more not as like messy. You just see. I mean, look at all those cards on the ground. Um, and this last year there were honestly uh whoever makes Uno just decided to donate just a ton of packs of Uno. Like I was kind of weird. You see, uh this was the money raised this last year. Um so first toss they kind of split it into two sides. So people bid and then who like the two top bidders like split onto different sides of the room and then everybody competes. It's for charity. So you get people that pass money. So I think this last year one of the bidder or Team Dragon, which lost because Team Dragon had 2,106. Uh the top bid on that side was $400. And then Team Dungeon, which won because they had 2,342. You can see the arrows kind of switch those around. So somebody wrote it and then put the wrong numbers and then was like, oh, wait, these are wrong. Um, they had their top bid was $401. dollars. Um, so kind of cool. Total, so $4,448 for the first throw. $1,434.11 in coins. So if you think about it, if that was pennies, right, you're talking like 143,000 pennies. It's not pennies, luckily. It's a lot of there are a lot of quarters in there, some half dollars even. Uh, there's a lot of years where people go and they'll just get like a roll of dollars because you're talking about a coin that's if you're going to throw a quarter, why not throw a half dollar? Half dollar is just a quarter but twice size. It's twice the dollar amount. So per weight for what you can throw, same thing. So I think one year we had a whole bunch of half dollars. I want to say that was the year there was like an interview where some uh, somebody had brought like had like done an interview with one of the volunteers for Cardhalla. I forget, was it Will volunteer? I can't remember. But he did this interview, and then they built like little mini towers, and he dumped like a bag full of half dollars. And I think they might given the volunteers the half dollars then, and then the volunteers a lot of times they'll have coins that they'll um because people are walking past Cardhalla and then see it and they want to participate, but I didn't. Who cares cash nowadays, right? A lot of the people who go there specifically for Cardhalla, they carry cash, but a lot of people don't normally carry cash. So I think they took all of those and they sold them, you know, traded them to the crowd for dollar bills. Um, you know, oh, you have $5. Well, here's 10 half dollars that you can throw at Cardhalla. So, um, kind of a fun way of just getting some extra money for charity. So, um, but yeah, so I think that year we had just a ton of half dollars. Like, I mean, when I say ton, I mean ton. World War II, Western European theater. What? That's 3.7-inch anti-aircraft artillery gun. Uh, but I have no idea. Like, is that a trading card game? I don't know what that is. So, and I have a couple boxes of just stuff like this that I've sorted out, like a couple large boxes. Um, this was a lot of the times I'll have more of a focus, like Warlord, Saga of the Storm. There's just another card, another set of cards I really don't know anything about. It's more Netrunner cards. I think it was last year. I didn't see nearly as many 5 rings. I did still see some World of Warcraft. Not a ton, but some. Definitely less WWE. I think that's kind of tapped out. I mean, there was probably some of it. I want to say Force of Will, like people donate their cards and but they're like bringing Force of Will back. I don't know if people's old cards are still going to be considered playable or not. I don't know. Like they're reprinting Force of Will. I mean, let's be honest. Force of Will's back Let's see if they kind of see that where it's like, yeah, how the times have changed, right? Like I was talking about how the pentagram on Unholy Power was part of the reason my parents believed, or my mom especially, believed that Match the Gathering was satanic. I'm sure my dad probably did too, but I have, I, I think he had kind of uh, let my mom drive that decision uh, more than he did, and didn't feel the need. Dice Masters, okay. So many, so many different, like, it really is where Cardhalla. You see, this is legitimately a, like, me having grabbed random stuff at Cardhalla. There's another UDE card, the Bent Five Rings card. Um, so you can just tell that, like, we are talking about really, like, random set of cards. You can tell this time span right here in Magic the Gathering is where we got a lot of cards. Newer sets, I mean, what year is this? 2014? So, I mean, like, that's like 2015. I mean, maybe it's just that people didn't want to donate newer sets. X Files. There's another card game in here. Um, like, I wouldn't be surprised if people just didn't want to donate a lot of the newer sets of cards until they kind of felt like, hey, what's Magic the Gathering doing? I mean, same with, like, a lot of these are potentially going to have come from um, Full Metal Alchemist, the trading card game. I mean, how many different, like, we're well over 20 different trading card games they're in here. Trading card games and collectible card games. Well over 20. And then just, hey, here's a Joker, random playing card, and a Looney Tunes playing card. So just we'll go with playing cards too. Um so what was I saying? Um can't remember. There's a Mirage Mountain, kind of in bad condition though. I mean, not like it's folded or anything, just a lot of wear on the sides of that card. Yeah. Oh, I remember. I was saying about, so, like, you think this is the oldest set. People are probably holding on to that a lot. This is still kind of old. I mean, we're talking like early and mid 2000s here, where it was like in the center, and so, like, people maybe just like still kind of holding on to that, or they already got rid of that stuff. This is like the stuff. Okay, so trading card game store got this in. They've sat on it for, these cards are 2011, right? Let's say I picked this up in 2018 or whatever. They've sat on that for 5+ years, where they bought like a bulk set from somebody who wanted to stop playing Magic the Gathering, and get their money. Like, it opened up a bunch of cards or whatever. And so, you know, potentially that sat in you know, uh, somebody's store for 5 years, and then they were like, I just don't want these anymore. you know, try to sell them to like Card Kingdom, right? But yeah, or I could just donate them to Cardhalla. Like legitimately, I think there's some people in the like Indianapolis area that might go around to the TCG stores that sell Magic the Gathering and other card games and just ask for like, hey, do you have any cards you're getting rid of? Oh, what are you going to do with them? Oh, we're going to take them down to Cardhalla, right? And so like, let's think about it. Like, let's say that stack of cards is sat at your TCG store for 5 years, or even let's just say 2 years. And for 2 years, you probably have at least a couple people a week that walk into your store, riffle through these cards, pull out a couple cards they want. You probably once a month had some guy who came in who's trying to sell cards on TCG Player who went through all your cards and was like pulling out all the cards they thought they could make a profit on. Like maybe even some cards they didn't think they could make a profit on. Like, ooh, there's an Earthbind. I think Earthbind's going to go up in price, right? And so they pull all the Earthbinds out, or I saw something. It was like nothing, and like you play it and you discard your hand, and so like there's speculation that at some point there will be like maybe there will be some combo where discarding your entire hand and having nothing in your hand is really good, and so this will be part of like some combo, and the price of that's going to go way up, right? And so somebody's probably coming and pulled out all those, and you know, there's another said Naruto, right? WWE card. They had some nice stuff on the WWE cards with everyone wants to watch women. Period. Uh, is this WWE SmackDown? Yeah, I don't know. Kind of funny because uh, that's completely off topic. I'll get around to talking to that in a bit. WWE because it's kind of funny. Um, no, like there, like it's just crazy. WWE. I'll talk about some stuff with WWE because for most of my life I grew up just being like, yeah, it's just fake. So, and then I kind of got a different perspective from a roommate of mine at one point. Um, but yeah, what was I talking about? Like, so you've sat on those cards for 5 years. You know, 100 people have gone through that box of cards and looked at it. Are you going to like as the owner of your store? Are you going to sit down and go through that box of cards yourself? Um, unglued. Actually, I'm gonna put that here because that did have the symbol where it showed if it was rare or not. Um, yeah, like are you going to take the time? You're spending so much time running a business already. You payroll to do trying to like pay your utilities and pay like you have all your accounting stuff and your taxes, and then you want to spend time with your family, all that stuff. Are you going to go through a box of common cards that when you stuck it out there 5 years ago or how many ever years ago, there was nothing in that box of cards that was worth anything, and 100 people have gone through that box uh, since you donated it? No, you're not going to go through it. Nobody's going to go through it. Um, because it's not worth the time. Like, are you going to pay an employee to go through it? So, like McDonald's is paying, like, let's say it was a few years ago. Let's just say McDonald's was paying $10 an hour. Okay, I'm going to pay somebody $10 an hour to go through cards. They're not going to enjoy it. They're probably not going to do a great job at it, right? Like, maybe I have somebody really good who can go through them. But let's be honest, it's just a hockey card. Yeah, let's just go with a random hockey card. Um, like, if I have somebody who's good enough to go through the cards, like, I'm going to have him go through stuff that, like, somebody wants to sell me or something. I'm going to have him, like, price cards. Like, I if I'm going to have anybody looking through those cards, it's going to be some guy who's, like, brand new. Like, the new guy who's been there for a month and barely knows anything. And we'd be like, go through that box and make sure there's no, like, alpha and beta cards in there. you know, like, like just make sure there's no rares. Pull the rares out. Whatever it is. Um, you know. And so yeah, like maybe 2 months ago, some set launched and another hockey card. Some new set launched and there's some combo and all of a sudden like Arcane Denial goes up to over $1 and there's 6 copies. Ooh, there's another game I used to have, Magi Nation. Now that was a don't know what I enjoyed about Magi Nation. It was like if you took like maybe what I imagined Magic the Gathering was and combined it with Pokemon. Right? So I still have fond memories of Magi Nation. Maybe because it was based off of a Game Boy game. Um, anyway, what was I saying? Monty Python, the Holy Grail. Write your own land card. Um, but yeah, the truth is you're not going to find those cards like an Arcane Denial that just went up in price, or I'm sure we'll find some other commons, you know, where you donated and then you know 2 years later there's a combo, and you know what? It already went through Cardhalla. Half the cards already got bent. You know, 99% of them, or 95% of them, somewhere between 95 and 99%, probably 95%, got thrown in the trash. I picked up a few percent of them just for my own enjoyment, for something random to do, a sort through cards. Um, and yeah, and I find those Arcane Denials and go, ooh, whole bunch of Arcane Denials and Mystic Remora and Dark Ritual. Yeah, another bank card. That's a promo. Like, that's the promo symbol for the Mage Wars. So that's definitely a promo. And there's probably 5,000 of those. There's hollow trees. Force Will. Another Highlander. What are these? Like what? Zexu? Matter Group LLC? Zeku? I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying about WWE? Um, yeah, so I used to, the entire time I grew up, I thought WWE was just ridiculous, right? It's fake fighting. I mean, especially I did, like, obviously I haven't stayed in shape. You just saw a picture of that. But, yeah, I did, martial arts in, college and stuff. Yeah, I had done a, yeah, so, huh, that's interesting. Like a force of will. It almost looks like a dual land. So that'll be. I'll just see if that's worth anything because it like taps for two different things. Um, anyway, like I legitimately did not understand the draw of WWE or any of those until like it was years after I graduated from college and stuff, and I had a roommate who I mean, I don't know if I would call him like super into WWE, but yeah, I mean, he had been a fan since he was a kid. Um, you know, um, versus. I'm almost surprised that we used to have a lot more of those. Um, yeah, another match, Mage Wars. Um, but he, would watch WWE, and so I wasn't not like a not a super social type of person. So just to be able to like do something social, um, I started watching with him, and I kind of gained this new appreciation that he wasn't like watching it because thought he thought WWE was real. Like he was like, oh yeah, this is all scripted, right? It's all scripted, but like he was like, think of it more like you're not watching like a scripted fight or like a TV show or something like that. Like think of it as you're watching like a play, right? Almost like a play combined with like a performance, like acrobatics type thing. Like just think about it more like that. And like legitimately, like I started to kind of appreciate it more just because it was like to be a WWE star, like The Rock or something, right? Like I understand he's not an amazing actor uh, by any stretch of the imagination. He's not atrociously bad. Another Monty Python, so we have a couple of those. Um, like I've seen worse actors. If you have worse actors than The Rock, I mean they're not in Hollywood, but he was for the fact that these guys are athletes, are putting their body on the line to do these like trick type things and to try and make a fight look real. And some of the points where like you'd get like a lot of respect of these guys was like watching WWE was when you could tell like, ooh, that like he was he took that like like they tried to make that look real, and he, turned his head at the wrong time and like actually took a punch to the face, right, or something. He'd be like, no, he's like, that didn't feel comfortable. Like maybe it wasn't outright like, oh, he got decked, like knocked out. A couple of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm kind of surprised. I'm going to replace Maple Story with that because we haven't had any other Maple Story cards. Um, so, but like, that, and sometimes like, I think I was watching, it's not Seth Rogers. I don't know who the other WWE guy is. I think he's a cousin of The Rock or something. In like at one of the big like pay-per-view things, because I mean my roommate was a big enough fan. He paid for, to watch some of the shows and stuff that were pay-per-view. um I, I don't think he paid the like he watched them through somewhere like online or whatever, so that he didn't have to pay the like outrageous prices the cable networks charge for stuff like that. But like the guy like cut his forehead and like it just had like blood just all over his face. Um and so like the kind of the willingness like to like almost like self-harm yourself for your career, like I mean obviously he's doing it in such a, like head wounds bleed a lot, so it's not like he was like in any real danger, but like he just cut himself in such a way that like it looked like he really cut himself. I think he was wrestling against Brock Lesnar, I want to say. um and we kind of assume he cut himself, but like he could have just taken a really bad blow on the mat and legitimately like sliced his head open, was bleeding all over the place. It was, the cameras were at the right point to pick it up though. Um, like you really get an idea of how much of like a performance WWE is if you go to like an actual live show. Because like and we had gone to, I mean he was my roommate for a number of years. I think like a couple times uh they were they were in Indianapolis probably a few different times, quite a few times. But like twice I went there with him to to a WWE show that was uh here in the city I live at. Um and it was it's entirely different because like you see the big like the group of fans behind the ring. Well, then you like actually go in there and you realize like the cameras are basically set up on one side. If there's not like enough people to show up, like they're all set up on one side, so you get this big crowd in the background on the cameras. Well, behind the cameras, almost nobody's sitting. Like it's really sparse, um, because they put everybody on that side, and like people will like the chanting that you hear like and stuff like that's like legitimately like the people that like go to those shows and stuff are like they realize they're almost like part of the performance too, and so they really get into like, oh yeah, when there's a chant, like you're all supposed to chant because you need to make it sound like there's 10 times as many people here as there really are. Yeah. And then at like the really big events, like yeah, you'll see you'll see shots of the entire arena and everything. And that's because there really are like enough people that show up to those. Um, so we're gonna try to get through the rest of. So I have this much left, and then I'm probably going to call it a night. So, but just kind of makes it like very interesting how like through the times they've kind of changed, and a lot of it's about the showmanship, about like attracting people to view what they're doing and get uh like kind of involved, like not maybe involved, but like to really like care about the show. And the amount of like you're not going to see other people like actors, they're willing to do that much and put their body on the line that much for their career. It's like a rare group of people. Um, and really, like the people who make it at that top level, like it's like any other. I mean, not quite. It's probably not as competitive as like football or basketball or something, but I mean, it's still fairly competitive. And a lot of people end up, over the years, I think a lot of people have gotten hurt as they're trying to make their way up. Another island, Mirage Island. Um, as they're trying, make a career out of it. You know, unfortunately, people get injured and their career's over. Uh, yeah, it seems when I have a headset on, it seems like when I touch it, it makes some noise. So trapped chest from a D&D card. Dungeon Delve stat card side 2. This is Dungeon Delve. So Monster Manual Lords of Madness 2010 51 out of 60. I don't know. I don't think that's a uh, trading card game, collectible card game type thing. I mean, maybe if we run out of stuff to do eventually, like, I'll really look it up. Yeah, there's those kind of. I just don't. don't know what's going on with these. I just don't. You know what? I've never done this before. Yeah, look at that. Is that blue or black? Sorry, my keyboard's. Hmm. Just don't know. Just seems weird. I guess that's maybe a blue core. I mean, it definitely looks blue and not black. I don't know. I know. Kind of sad to tear off a card, but that just feels uh like these are like smooth, and this is like the. It's like they like got something on it, or like printed it wrong, or like it's almost like it's sat in somebody's greasy kitchen, but it's not actually like grease because it's not coming off and staying on my hands. So just weird. It's Quidditch Cup rules. SpongeBob SquarePants. It's SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. It's just so weird that like finding these uh like that's clearly a Star Wars card from like well after I was like had bought like my boxes because there was nothing that color. Look, The Simpsons trading card game. If, from 2003. I don't remember ever seeing a card like that in Cardhalla, but just goes to show you never really 100% know what's going to show up. For some reason, somebody has one of their cards in a sleeve that's just I mean, it must have been from their a deck at some point, and they just didn't bother to take it out. Ice Age, bent a little bit, but high stakes drifter. Elvish Scout. Another foreign card. But I don't think these newer foreign cards are really worth anything more than just the regular card is. Uh, Unlike the foreign black borders, which were, you know, worth more than the 4th edition cards, but only because they have a black border and 4th edition has white borders normally. Mm, another Mage Wars card. These like unglued or whatever, they're always just kind of funny. So, whenever another creature comes into play, you may stand up and say a deep, booming voice, presenting in that creature's name. If you do, put +1/+1 on that creature. So, it's MC 3 mana. Put it 3 mana. It's a 0/1 creature, right? Um, I'm pretty sure there's other cards that I mean maybe not as widely gives a +1/+1 counter, but like I'm pretty sure there's other cards that like just automatically give a +1/+1 to all humans that come out. And then it'll be like, you know, a 2/2 creature. Chaotic. There's another card game that's out here. I mean, whew. Honestly, if you had asked me in any specific year, there's Dice Masters again. If you'd asked me in any specific year, how many different card games do you think there are at Cardhalla? I don't know if I'd answer as many as I have from this deck or from the cards we've gone through. There's a Havenwood Battleground. I'm pretty sure that's not a expensive card. Phyrexian Boon. Force of Will cards. Another high stakes drifter card. Extra ammo. Soldevi Sage. Sacrifice 2 lands to draw 3 cards. Choose and discard one of those cards. Doesn't seem great. Seems like a card that would be like a rare nowadays. Oops, there's a card that has a bad word in it. Oh, we're not a kids show. It is a trading card game. So, oh, bury a gear card. Okay, I don't get like. Is this something you play on somebody else? Hey, Stormtrooper, Power 1, Ability 1. And it deploys for free to the same site as one of your Imperials with ability greater than 2. So, free Stormtroopers. don't even really remember how Star Wars was played. I don't think I ever actually played the game. I like briefly, I think, read through the rules and was like, I don't know if I really understand this. You like put like land cards out. Hey, there's a foil of uh, one of these WWE cards. I have no idea how rare foils are of those. And a foil of one of the Five Rings cards. Uh, so, I'm not sure if that's worth anything. So, anyway, we're uh, we're through these, sorting through these. I'll maybe replace Duel Masters and Dragon Ball Z next time with something else because we only had one copy of those. Uh, Same with the Cyber Run. Lots of World of Warcraft. Oddly, a lot of WWE cards. I've seen these before, but I've never really paid enough attention to them to like ask like, hey, do we have like, you know, look at a stack of WWE. Like, there's the stack of WWE. There's the stack of World of Warcraft, basically the same size. And here's the stack of Five Rings, maybe a little bit bigger for Five Rings. So, and neither of those are as big as the stack of these Magic of the Gathering that are like from, I want to say, the early 2010s, mostly. Mid 2000s through sometime in the maybe mid 2010s. Uh, so, and then, I mean, I don't know what those are. A few of them. Netrunners, Babylon 5, Star Trek cards. I think we. So Montgomery Scott, I mean, and Jarrell. I've watched a lot of Star Trek, so I actually recognize those characters. Do we have any interesting characters in here? I always liked the Star Wars card games because you'd get like names for characters where are else like maybe if you like read some of the like expanded books, but like it made it seem like Star Wars was one of the few like games where they put a name on every single character that was in those movies, and they've really like lost that in the like more recent like movies, like even the like prequel trilogy. Like I can remember just like every single character in the original Star Wars trilogy. Like you could find a card game and you'd be like, "Oh, that's Greedo." Like the bounty hunter that Han Solo shot. That's so and so. And then like, well, I guess Greedo was named in the movie, but like almost every single character was named. You had some like, if it was the same character, like I forget what they were called, like Jabba the Hutt's like guards. There were like the pig, almost like orc type things. Like those were just called whatever the creature they were. But like a lot of the aliens, if like you only saw one of them, like on the card games, they had a name for like who that alien was, right? Like, and so it just made it really like kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, like stormtroopers weren't named, but like, yeah, um, Death Star Trooper. Okay, it's the Tusken Raider. See, like, who is that guy? Dan's Boren. cocky gunner and bounty hunter, maintains a residence on Nar Shaddaa, the spaceport moon of the Hutt homeworld. To his companion's delight, he's nearly as good as he boasts. So he's like probably in the third movie, one of the guys that's in Jabba's palace. And that might be like the only shot of him in the the movie. And like they made a card and named the guy, uh, and like put a name to him, it's just kind of cool. Uh, there's Stormtrooper. So, um, but yeah, one of the things I've enjoyed about Star Wars. So, because you don't see that in a lot of these other shows, movies, and stuff. Some of them, but or maybe it's just that I'm way deeper into Star Wars than a lot of other stuff. Anyway, we're sitting at what, hour and 37 minutes stream. I'm going to go ahead and stop streaming. It's pretty late here, and then I mean I still have probably I want to say half this box to go, maybe even between half and 2/3. So, and then I have another box also to look through. So, I don't know. Let's cards to sort through. And at some point, I mean, we'll look at adding these old cards back to the sets. We'll do the Fallen Empires and was it Tempest? Tempest and Fallen Empires, I think. I haven't done a stream of, so we'll do those, and then we'll get sorting these sets. They're kind of in the middle, and then these, which I think I'm going to have a whole lot of, and then not as many of these. If this is anything to go by, which I think does kind of match with what I've seen. Although I maybe have as many of these as these if I counted, because I think I pulled out my white border cards, which are going to be my, all of the revised, unlimited, fourth edition, fifth edition, and Chronicles. I think I pulled all of those out, and we've already gone through a lot of them. So these, I maybe have even less from where these are kind of in the center than I actually have of these older cards. So, but yeah, we will be